All right. Doing this one in a bit of a hurry right now because I have to do a few things. I'm kind of in a hurry, of course. But I am going to lay out kind of how the day has gone thus far. I unfortunately didn't get to it as quickly as I wanted to. But yes, the basement is getting remodeled. But I unfortunately didn't get to the video quite when I wanted to or needed to, as like when I should have. This morning to fill everyone in on how the process is going with the calls and call reluctance and the therapy stuff that I'm doing. But just to keep things up to date. So, got up this morning and went through some of my personal routines. Of course, read my Bible, read some more in the book. And as I read in the book, I started doing one of the therapies, the thought zapping concept. Set your, in short, basically what it is you set an alarm for 3 minutes, and at which point you start thinking of all the things that you are most afraid of, and imagining those things coming true, and imagining those things happening, and why, and what's going on in your mind and your heart at that point. And when that alarm buzzer goes off at 3 minutes, it shocks you out of that state, and after you because you're so ingrained in it and so in depth in it, and your mind is so on that thought process. I don't know how to explain it or what's going on. Even the book says that it's effective, but scientifically nobody can explain why or how. But what it does is your mind is in one path, and then when something happens, it snaps you out of it, and your brain just kind of says, none of that was real. And it effectively makes you understand, and your brain understand, none of that's really all that real. None of that's really that dire. It doesn't seem to be affecting me that much. So it has the effect of kind of, it was zapping the thought, as the title says. It brings your mind into a state of realization where you can load your own thought process. Okay. I did it once kind of in a haphazard way, because unfortunately my timer was screwed up. Don't make fun of me. I got the digits wrong. But whatever. But I did realize some things about myself in all of it, that we all have deep-seated, ingrained, really, really deep fears. Okay? We might not realize they're there. We might not realize what they are, but we all have those fears and those things that kind of hold us back. And when we start getting into what those fears are, it really makes sense as to why we're doing what we're doing, or not doing what we're not doing. And we start connecting the dots between those fears, what those fears are, where those fears come from, and what those fears really mean in our lives. And I can tell you right now that most men, I didn't realize it, but most men, and depending on which one of our 16 characteristic personalities are, we can really kind of either try to realize what those fears are and dissect them and try to rationalize them away, or we can find out what they are, where they're from, why they're there, and just face them head on and beat the ever-living snot out of them. You know what I mean? Like, one of my fears, and I didn't realize it was so detrimental to me and had such a great effect on me. One of which was I have I fear being ineffective. I have a fear of being ineffective, which translates into a fear of being useless. Okay. Or vice versa. I a fear of being useless, which translates into a fear of being ineffective. Okay. And that also can be related to having a fear of having no place or no purpose or no reason. Okay. And this book really helped me see that. It really helped me understand that. And once you come to grips with that and understand what that is, and understanding, even though you may not like the effects, you have those effects. You have those. You're not complete. Nobody's completely ineffective. All right. So, this whole journey, this whole, you know, delving into exactly what the call reluctance is and why it's there and where it comes from, really has been opening up ideas and mindsets and things that I should be addressing long ago, have just simply have been avoiding. Okay. So, saying it's enjoyable is one thing. Saying that it's effective is another thing. So it has been very useful in my own personal development. All right. So it sounds like a whole lot of rambling this morning, but I can tell you this, that it has been useful in that, yeah, I did make calls yesterday, but I was only very effective in and of myself in controlling that for about half hour to 45 minutes. And then I started to fall back into my old patterns. So that I noticed that is good and useful. All right. So I can start working on that and extending that period, but also learning how to make those things that happen that I had in my brain, you know, just learning how to stave those problems off further and learning how to extend my period of effectiveness. Yeah, maybe I'm I'm rambling a little bit, but it's all a learning process. It's all a learning process. So it's been good. I'm glad I started on this journey. I'm glad I started on this, and I'm glad I started documenting it because, for one, you never know when you're going to have to go back and be like, I got to relearn that one again. All right. So we'll give a follow up later. All right. Bye.